My name is Grandma Judy and I'm Erica's grandma. And I'm going to be reading We Are the Gardeners by Joanna, what's her name?
Joanna Gaines.
Joanna Gaines. Do I have to show you the page?
Yeah, read it and then show us the picture.
To our dad who taught us that we can do hard things and to never give up even when we fail. I'm kind of a fast reader.
That's okay.
We Are the Gardeners. That's a pretty official title, but we didn't start out this way. Just like our garden, we started small and grew from there. Some say the garden just grows from seeds, but we think it grows from trying and failing and trying again. A garden is hard work, but it is also so is most of the good important stuff in life.
That's true.
Our family's garden story began with one small potted fern. Dad stumbled upon it at the hardware store when he ran in for some supplies. He said it was just too cute to leave behind, and he thought it would make Mom smile. And it did.
Aww.
Aw. We chose a sunny windowsill for that pretty little fern. It seemed like a good safe spot for him to grow. This was back when we were little kids, but we still remember visiting the plant each day to give him a drink, and sometimes we'd whisper to him a bit. See, they've got their little water cans.
Yeah.
And then, plot twist, out of nowhere, our fern died.
Uh-oh.
Death by overhydration. That's just a fancy way of saying we gave him way too much water. Looking back, each one of us must have watered him every day. That's a lot of drinks for this little plant. By mistake, we love that plant to death. Some people tell themselves they are no good at something after one small failure, but no chance we are going to give up that easily.
I overwater my plants too.
So we checked out some books from the library and we found that ferns can be tricky and prefer to live in a shady spot. Apparently, a plant's leaves can communicate with us what they're needing. We also learned that most plants have good manners and like to sip, not gulp. Lesson learned. Dad got a fresh fern and with it came fresh hope. This time we set the pot on our piano way on the other side of the room where the sun wouldn't give him so much attention. We made a watering schedule and took turns saying a lot of nice things with our little sprout of plant. The fern number 2 lived and thrived and grew, and finally Mom got him a little potted friend. And then another, and then 1 and 2 more. We noticed that talking to our plants actually helped them grow bigger and stronger, so we added some songs and jokes into the mix. Unlike when we were overwatered, 0 plant died from us talking too much. Pretty soon plants are taking over the house, and Dad said it was time to graduate to outdoor gardening. Look at all the plants on the piano.
Mm-hmm.
Mom was as excited about the new outdoor garden as we were, and she started talking about it with a dreamy look in her eyes. That's when Dad called a family meeting so we could come up with a real plan. We all gathered around the kitchen table and got to work dreaming, planning, and drawing things out.
Wow.
See, they even have paper and pencil. They were figuring it all out. We knew we needed a sunny spot, a place where the plants could sunbathe for at least 6 hours a day. We'd be red with radishes if we did that, but plants just love it. And more than that, they need it in the garden. There's no life without light.
Mm-hmm.
See, there's the chickens and the shed and the water. Full sun, good soil, water. Dad always says that the foundation is the most important thing when it comes to building a house. A house can't be strong if it's built on something weak, and the same holds true for a garden. So to make the foundation of our garden strong, we filled it with something called soil. Good soil, which includes a bunch of tiny living things called organisms, can grow things in it. That's pretty amazing when you stop and think about it. A whole hidden world of life is happening beneath our feet. Just because you can't see the good things with your eyes doesn't mean they're not there. And another cool thing about soil is that it feeds and strengthens the seeds we sow, and then, like a miracle, plant and flowers burst out of the ground. See, what do you see? Radishes and looks like beets, potatoes, carrots, and onion. We also knew we needed our gardens to get plenty of water. Rain is the very best thing for plants to drink, but it's hard to know when and if rain is coming, so a couple other options to keep plants hydrated are to collect rainwater or use a sprinkler or garden hose to get the job done. Once we had a location of plenty of sun, good soil, and a watering plan, we got right to work. First things first, seeds. The most fun part of planning out our garden was deciding what to plant. We started with foods we like to eat, like strawberries and tomatoes, and then we chose some pretty flowers to keep them company. The thing about seeds is that they're everyday miracles. Everything a plant will grow will be already hidden inside the seed. We chose flowers like zinnias and sunflowers and cosmos so that pollinators would visit our garden. Butterflies, hummingbirds, and bees spread pollen around from flower to flower, encouraging even some more things to bloom. We like knowing that the little helpers are out there in nature working with us to help this garden grow. The bees must have put their word out, as we had plenty of a good thing going, because sure enough, all sorts of other critters started to arrive. We quickly found that there were 3 types of bugs in our backyard: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the worst part. It was a pretty sad day when the aphids, pronounced aphids, arrived. They are some of the more well-known villains in the gardening world. They suck the life right out of the plants. But then the ladybugs show up to eat those pesky aphids for lunch. Ladybugs are for sure part of the hero camp, bravely protecting our plant friends from harm. And we've got to tell you about earthworms. They're like the secret agents of the garden. Earthworms eat all the dead things like old roots and leaves and turn them into life for the soil. Every time we found one, we would all high-five and celebrate. They aren't pretty, but who cares? They're awesome, and we love seeing them hard at work.
Its little jacket.
We realized pretty quickly that we needed to keep the weeds out. They are the true bullies of the garden. Weeds try to steal water, sunlight, and nutrients from our fruit and vegetables, and it's our job to make sure those little rascals don't take over. If we ignore the garden for too long, the weeds run wild and hurt your beloved plants. It's much easier to just do a little bit every day, pull the weeds every day. We are officially gardeners and had a real-life garden to prove it. The garden became our pride and joy. Day in and day out, we tended our plants, making sure they got plenty of sun and water. Every time a new plant sprouted up in the ground, our excitement grew right along with it. As time passed, our garden grew bigger, and so did our family. When our garden was finally in bloom and growing tall, we'd run through the aisles and watch the butterflies flutter around us. But one day, as we were mid-skip, we noticed some trespassers helping themselves to lunch. And by lunch, we mean half the garden. Animals may look cute and innocent, but some have a sneaky side. They can wipe out a garden in no time flat. The chickens ate the vegetables, the goats ate Mom's roses, the bunnies weren't picky at all, they ate anything in sight. Saying goodbye to that many happy plants was even harder than throwing away our first dead fern. We debated if we should just give up, but it was really worth it to start all over again. Then we remembered one important detail. We are the gardeners. It was our responsibility not only to grow this garden, but also to protect it. So we put up a little fence to keep the animals out and got to work rebuilding our garden. It didn't take long for our plants and gardens growing tall again. To this day, our very favorite days are when we get to gather the fruits of our labor. Mom loves to set the table with pretty flowers in every color you can imagine. We help her dream up recipes for the food we've grown. Sometimes when we see all the beauty laid out, we can't believe our hands help bring it to life. It makes all the hard work worth it. It's what keeps us coming back day after day, season after season. We still keep a little fern on the piano to remind us of our small beginnings. Every time we water it, we're reminded not to give up when things don't work out for the first time. Because the thing is, whether one potted fern dies or half the garden is wiped out by little critters, every failure and setback teaches us something. Dad says that every hard thing we choose to do makes us braver for the next time. There are so many lessons waiting to be learned and the whole world of gardening ready to bloom. We are the gardeners.
Aw.
There we go. The end.
Woo!